MMA Boxing Talk here, coming at you with another video. I just want to talk about the UFC lightweight division, and personally, to me, it's the strongest division in the UFC. For the main reason I think that is that just the amount of depth. If you look at the top 10 fighters, specifically like the top 8 fighters, including the champion. It's a very, very interesting division. A lot of good fighters. I don't believe any other division in the UFC has as many good fighters in one division as the lightweight division. That's the 155 division. Now I just want to note that Conor McGregor is the featherweight champ at 145. Now the UFC made it official about 2 days ago, I believe, that Conor McGregor is going to be moving up to the 155-pound division and fighting Rafael dos Anjos, who I like to call RDA, for the belt at 155. So not only is it the best division in the UFC, you got Conor McGregor, its biggest star, moving up to fight the champ at the lightweight division. So that's going to be in March 5th at UFC 197. So that's going to be a really, really big fight. I'll definitely be making a prediction video for that before the fight happens. Now, basically, I want to talk about the all the contenders in that division. I'm going to go down the list. I'm going to talk about 7 or 8 guys and a couple other notables. So starting off with the number 1 contender, Anthony Showtime Pettis, former lightweight champion. He just lost the title to Rafael dos Anjos, the current champ, back in March of 2015. Now, Anthony Showtime Pettis, since he lost the title, he hasn't fought since. So, he's fighting actually this Sunday on the Dominic Cruz, TJ Dillashaw headliner. They're the co-main event. Anthony Pettis is taking on Eddie Alvarez. If you want to see a breakdown prediction video, I made one on the Eddie Alvarez, Anthony Pettis, and also the TJ Dillashaw, Dominic Cruz. Go check my videos out if you want to see the prediction for that. I'll be making post-fight predictions on both those fights now. That's this Sunday on free TV. So Anthony Pettis, great fighter, high level of striking. He's one of the best in the UFC for head kicks and just any kicks in particular. Now, this is a guy that, like I said, he lost his belt back in 2015, March of 2015. So it's been a while. He's been out a while. It'll be about 10 months since Pettis' last fight. So that'll be interesting. So basically, if he beats Eddie Alvarez in his next fight, he could be the next guy in line to face the winner of RDA or Conor McGregor, who are fighting this March. Now, moving on to the number two contender, we have Khabib Nurmagomedov, and this guy, he's kind of like the dark horse in that division. A lot of stories and interesting points to talk about with Nurmagomedov. First of all, he hasn't fought in almost 2 years. He fought last time April 2014, and he actually beat the current champion Rafael dos Anjos in his last fight. That's Nurmagomedov. So he's one of the only guys that have beat, I think the only guy in this division at the moment that has beat the current champ. Now, like I said, that's 2 years ago. He's came off two knee surgeries, knee injuries, I should say, and he went for surgery. Now, this guy, he's an interesting fighter to watch. Phenomenal wrestler. And this guy, he strikes. He has a different style of striking. It's like he really lunges in and he closes the gap very quickly, and he oftentimes overwhelms his opponent, takes them down with that good wrestling. Now, a little background information on Nurmagomedov. His main background is sambo, which is it's a Russian martial arts that was created in the 1920s, and it was created actually by the Soviet Red Army, and just for combat combat abilities in war. Basically, that's what this was made for. This Russian sambo martial arts. Now, it's a very, very rare form of martial arts, especially in the UFC. There's not too many guys that train sambo. One other guy in particular, arguably the greatest mixed martial artist of all time, Fedor Emelianenko. He also practiced sambo. He's Russian as well, just like Khabib Nurmagomedov. So this is a really good fighter. The inactivity has kind of put him in the on the back burner for now, if you will. Still the number two contender, but injuries have slowed him down. So whenever he's healthy, I would love to see him fight RDA again, whether he's the champ or not by then, just to see what he could do, because he's improved quite a bit in those last 2 years. So anyway, moving on, Cowboy Cerrone, he just is coming off of a horrible loss to the champion Rafael dos Anjos. That just happened in December of 2015. Rafael dos Anjos stopped Cowboy Cerrone in the first round, TKO. I mean, he caught Cowboy with a punch and just swarmed him and never let him recover. So he's kind of out of the picture for when we're talking about fighting for the belt here. Actually, he moved up. Sorry, I should be noting this. I shouldn't have him in this video. But Cowboy Cerrone's next fight is going to be at 170 against Tim Means. So I don't know if he's going to stay at that division. Either way, if he comes back, he's another guy to add in the mix. So he's a question mark. But so I'll move on from him. The fourth contender is Eddie Alvarez, who, like I mentioned earlier, is taking on Anthony Pettis this Sunday. I got a breakdown video, prediction video on that. Now, Eddie Alvarez, he's only had 3 fights in the UFC. One, he lost to his first UFC fight. He lost to Cowboy Cerrone in a unanimous decision, I believe. It was a pretty close fight, but Cerrone got the better of him in the end. Now, just want to note that this order, the order of contenders that I'm going by, that's just by the UFC ranking system. So by no means am I saying that the ranking system is accurate. Oftentimes, similar in boxing, that we just fight fans don't always agree on the ranking system, and just a lot of times you beat a guy and that guy's still ahead of a guy that already beat him or whatever. So, but I'm just going on the UFC. It's not my specific ranking. Let's just put it that way. So that was Eddie Alvarez, number 4. He's taking on Pettis this Sunday. Now, moving on to the number 5 guy, we have Tony Ferguson, who is one of the most dangerous fighters in that division. This is a guy that he has a very, very unique style. He's one of the only fighters in the UFC that doesn't have any pro trainers with him. He doesn't train at a high level gym with other pro fighters. He basically does his own thing. Now, he's got great wrestling, awesome boxing. So for you boxing fans, you're gonna like this guy. Just very unpredictable and likes to mix it up. He's got great stamina. Creativity is off the charts. This guy, there's nothing this guy won't try in that octagon, it seems. He's very good at ground and pound as well. He's coming off of a huge win against the number 8 contender, Edson Barbosa. I'll get to him in a minute. Now, Ferguson just beat Edson Barbosa in a bloodbath of a fight. That was earlier in December 2015. Now, Tony Ferguson, he took a hell of a beating in that first round against Barbosa. Landed some few good shots in that first round. In the second round, things got a little interesting. Both guys landed a couple blows. Both guys got seriously cut up. I mean, there was a ton of blood. I didn't call it a bloodbath for no reason. And Tony Ferguson ended up getting the submission on Edson Barbosa. Just a real vulgar, just an ugly fight, but an MMA fan's dream kind of thing. Unless you're, if you're faint-hearted, then or whatever the hell that is, you're not gonna like this fight. But this is a great fight. He's an awesome fighter. I'd love to see him fight anyone in the top 5, including the champ, even Conor McGregor if he happens to beat Rafael dos Anjos in March. Now moving on, I want to talk about the number 6 guy, Michael Johnson. Now he's a solid fighter, but he's coming off of a loss to Nate Diaz in December as well. I think there was so many fights in December, it was crazy. Now he lost to Nate Diaz pretty well, a pretty dominant win by Nate Diaz. So he's still in the mix, but he's not one of the guys I'd predict to be a future champ or ever even maybe move up in the division. I don't think he's going to move up too much. There's just too many other good fighters out there, including the number 7 guy who just beat Michael Johnson, and that is Nate Diaz. A fan favorite, of course. Great boxing, great jiu-jitsu. Submission, great at submissions. Great stamina, of course. Both the Diaz brothers have great stamina. They do a lot of cycling, and that's, I think, how they get most of their stamina. And he's also got a good chin. This is a guy that's never been stopped before, and trades in the pocket, loves to engage in exchanges, and oftentimes, trash talking his opponent. He's just a fun fighter to see. Now, moving on to the 8th contender is Edson Barbosa, who I mentioned just took a loss to Tony Ferguson. But not a big deal. Tony Ferguson is the real deal, and anyone that knows enough about MMA knows that Ferguson is the real deal. So Barbosa, he's still got a long career ahead of him. He's still a young guy. I think he's only 27 or 28, and he's been around for a while. He's highly skilled, Edson Barbosa. Phenomenal head kicks. He's got that muscle twitch fiber there, and his leg kicks, he gets them off quicker than anyone, it seems. Similar leg kicks to an Anthony Pettis, if you will. Just a high level striker, very crisp, very technical. Now Barbosa, he has 4 losses, but all of his losses are to good opponents. Only losing to Cowboy Cerrone, Tony Ferguson, like I just said. Michael Johnson beat him in the past, and Jamie Varner was his first loss quite a while ago. All solid guys. So that's the top 8 guys in my opinion, and in the UFC's opinion, but they're all great fighters. A few other notables. Dustin Poirier, who was fighting at 145, lost to Conor McGregor. Since then has moved up to 155. And has 3 wins, 2 by finish, and 1 he beat Joe Duffy, who just so happens to be the last person to have beaten Conor McGregor via submission in 2010. That's Joe Duffy. So he just lost to Poirier, like I was talking about. So Poirier, he's a pretty good fighter. He might make his way into the top 10. Another young guy I really like to watch fight is Paul Felder. He trains with Cowboy Cerrone. This is a guy that has a tremendous amount of heart, doesn't mind taking a lot of punishment in the octagon. Now he's coming off of a loss to Edson Barbosa, which was a crazy fight. Paul Felder, Edson Barbosa, Tony Ferguson, a couple fights that you should check out if you haven't seen them. Now Felder is fighting, I believe it's this Sunday as well. Earlier on in the prelims, I don't think that'll be on TV, but he's fighting. I can't remember his first name, but last name Cruikshank. Seems to be a good striker. I don't know too much about him, but if he's a game fighter facing off against Felder, it's going to be a great fight. That's basically it for that division. Like I said, like I've mentioned there's a lot of good fighters. All these matchups are good. There's tons of matchups to be made in that division.